A security expert, Ona Ekomu, joins me now to discuss this development. Good to have you on the news at 10 tonight. Now that SARS has been dissolved, which has been the reason for these protests, the youths are still on the streets protesting. Why do you think this is happening?
Well, I think there's a trust deficit between the young people and the police agency. There have been several promises made in the past to reform SARS or to rein in the excesses of members of that elite unit. But those promises hadn't been kept. And the young people continue to be victimized by those police agencies. So I think they are continuing their protest despite the announcement this afternoon by the Inspector General of Police as a way of ensuring that the IG will indeed keep his word to scrap the unit and that there is no going back as far as that's concerned.
But with the recent case of violence and destruction of properties, one will wonder, where is all this leading to?
Yes, Madam Esther, I really wonder too where it's leading to. We know that there had been a lot of issues with SARS, like your background report said. People started rebelling against SARS they've been for many years, but in a coordinated manner. This one, the one that culminated in the disbandment of SARS today, started back in 2017. Now, in 2018, there was a serious end-SARS movement online, which resulted in the then Inspector General Ibrahim Idris in renaming SARS as F-SARS. And of course, that was another cosmetic reform. And now, more recently, this one, which prompted the Inspector General to announce that they will stop and search on the streets, and SARS will not man roadblock. And they said several other things that needed to be done. But I think, again, the young people were not impressed or were not convinced that those reforms that the IG expressed went far enough, and they continued. Now they've gotten the scrapping of SARS. Now, I think some of your other reports said that the problem is we still do have a big problem of violent crime in this country. Armed robberies, we have problem of kidnappings, we have insurgency. Nigeria is the third most terrorized country in the world today. We've lost so many people, even in 6 months of this year, we have 4-digit losses of people to violent crimes. Every day people are kidnapped and killed in this country. And so, it's counterintuitive for someone to say an elite force that is dedicated to fighting such violence should be shut down. However, I understand what they are saying, because if these guys are targeting young people to extort them, to harass them, extrajudicially kill some, and so on and so forth, then it ought to be reined in. So, there is a good logic to that. So I think it behooves the police agency now, the Inspector General and his top management team, to quickly come up with a way in which they are going to keep crime control in, because the primary duty of the police agency is crime control. So we must control that crime. Whether this dedicated agency is shut down or not, the crime must be controlled. So I think they have their job cut out for them.
And talking about combating crime now, who takes up the role in that regard? Now that the SARS has been disbanded for the role it was, purposely created to, combat crime, who takes that role, and how can this gap be filled?
Well, that's what I was just saying, Ms. Esther, a moment ago, that is the constitutional duty of the police agency to control crime. The police is in charge of internal security, internal crime control. So whether it's SARS or non-SARS, after all, SARS is a recent creation. SARS was only created in 1992. The police agency had been in existence for over 100 years before SARS was created. So SARS is just it's a special committee, it's a special unit that was set up to address a special problem. So I think what we might see in terms of realistic strategies, what we might see is probably a change of nomenclature. They are going to start something, maybe they will call it SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics Teams, like they call them in America. And so they might get rid of this name because you must have a dedicated group. Right. This came out, a long time ago. You must have people who are dedicated in the fight against violent crime.
All right, and that's a fine place to leave it. Honor at home. We appreciate your insight. Apologies for cutting you abruptly, but we have to leave it here for time. Thank you very much for your insights on TVC News at 10 tonight.
Thank you.